Music theory often feels like it's very pen and paper. There's no practical application to it, but there's a ton. So music for creating the practical part of intervals. That's what I'm going to title this video. So in music theory, you have intervals that are intervals of rest. They're calm, they're relaxed, there's not tension to them. And then you have active intervals that are pushing towards something else. They're wanting to go towards another note. So here's an interval of unrest. It's active. And it's wanting to move towards that perfect eighth. So a major seventh is pushing towards a perfect eighth. So instead of just seeing that's a C to a B, it's a seventh. Is it major or minor? Is it part of this triad and this C major idea? Oh, C to B flat. No, that's an added flat, so it's a minor seventh. Okay, but the minor seventh actually has a purpose. It falls towards the A. So the B resolves up towards the C, and the B flat wants to resolve down to the A. And all of a sudden, you realize that intervals are all just about identifying things of rest and unrest, tension and release, which is what music is all about. How do you go from something with tension to something with release? And each of these intervals is an interval of unrest, wanting to go somewhere else, and it can. And it can all of a sudden be at rest. And so minor second is a chord of immense tension. And it actually just wants to resolve down to a unison, perfect one. A minor third wants to resolve down to the D, still a little bit of unrest, back to the unison. It can try and go up, but it's a little bit awkward. There's the perfect fourth. That's a little bit better. That was a little bit more towards rest. Towards the perfect fifth feels a lot more restful, so it's not as if everything has to move by just the semitone or a whole tone each time. They can leap towards something of rest, but as I've mentioned previously, when you have something leap, you also want to have something step back down. So if you have an augmented fourth, it wants to resolve up towards that perfect fifth. Minor sixth, down towards a perfect fifth, and all of a sudden your music can start to have this purpose to it. Stuff that you've heard work for so long makes a lot more sense when you understand, okay, intervals are just about identifying where there's going to be tension and release. And this major seventh doesn't have to go there right away to the perfect eighth. It can go like this. And the additional semitone that I added in there maybe doesn't work. Maybe you just want... And all of a sudden you have seventh, second, back to that perfect eighth, or ninth, seventh, ninth, eighth. And perfect eighth is then there as our resolution. So we have this seventh tension, ninth tension, release on the perfect eighth. And so our perfect intervals, C to G, at rest. It doesn't need to go anywhere, but we can't just write a song where we put a C and a G. So we start to move it. And music is all about how long you can stretch out tension release. Do you want tension for the whole song? Is it one diminished triad after another? And all of a sudden there's this relaxation when the tension finally subsides. Major seventh resolves up. Minor seventh resolves down. Minor sixth resolves down to perfect fifth. And then the augmented fourth resolves up to a perfect fifth, or the diminished fifth resolves down to a perfect third, or the major third is one of the confusing ones that is kind of at rest itself, or it can go up to the fourth. The minor third wants to go down to the perfect unison. The major second wants to step down to the C there. So major second resolves to perfect unison, and then the minor second wants to go towards the perfect unison. So intervals and all the paper identification of them or listening to them is all about learning for when you're composing or when you're playing someone else's music, how to have this idea of tension release to make your music have a musical flow, I think. All the best, Mr. West.